let's do a wee bit of an unboxing. Let's see what we've got. A wee haul today. Plato, Last Days of Socrates. Royal Mail apology note, because they burst the envelope. So Amazon, if you're watching, these aren't very good shipping containers for books. Just saying. Plato, Republic, philosophy. So, what's this all about? Ted Gioia. Have you ever heard of The Honest Broker? Ted Gioia is a journalist, a writer, and a lifelong reader of books. And I've been following his Substack for a while. I think he came onto my radar when he published an article about Barnes & Noble and about their CEO, and how Barnes & Noble survived through the pandemic and through the global recession when other bookstores were closing down. So it was a great article. He came onto my radar. I've been following him ever since. And recently he published a new Substack post about a project that he wants to start, which is to have a year-long reading project of the Humanities, which involves reading 250 pages a week. Now, he has a lifelong plan to go through all of the humanities and literature that he can. This has been part of his life for a long time, so you can read all about that on Ted's Substack. I don't need to go into it here. Suffice it to say that he's very well read, not only literature, but music and art. So that's going to be part of his year-long reading project. So I'm going to read you a wee bit of what he said in his opening post. Ever since I described my lifelong reading plan, people have asked me to recommend lists of books. Frankly, the response was far beyond anything I expected, and more than just online comments and emails from ambitious readers. A New York editor at a major imprint asked me to turn my article into a full-length guide to arts and culture. And 2 different great books colleges inquired about my availability. These are attractive invitations, but I've declined them, and for good reasons. So he goes through his explanations. And then he says, here's what we're going to do. It's a 12-month immersion programme in arts and culture. This is part 1 of 4, so I'm not going to read it all out. You can go and look at that yourself. I will, of course, put a link down below. And the idea is that we break down the project into week-long chunks. So week 1, which I suppose is this week. We've got Plato, the final days of Socrates, as told in 4 dialogues. Euthyphro, Apology, Crito and Phaedo. And then we've got Plato, Republics, books 1 and 7. He says, I can't find a better starting point. The most brilliant thinker of antiquity is forced to drink poison because the rulers didn't like what he was saying. Socrates defends him, but ultimately loses his life because he pursues truth, not power. This leaves us room to add books 1 and 7 of Plato's Republic, which give us a taste of justice and introduce Plato's famous allegory of the cave. So those are the books. There is more that I'm not going to read out. You can read that yourself. Music, we've got Bach, The Well-Tempered Clavier, Book 1, and Goldberg Variations. So I should file them on and have a wee listen. And then art, for week 1, paintings by Jacques-Louis David, including The Death of Socrates. So that's week 1, and we carry on. So I've signed up for his paid subscription on Substack, which I had before and let it lapse, so I'm re-upping that. And he put out a subsequent post to say that the response has been quite overwhelming. He's had more sign-ups than ever before, and he's encouraged by how hungry people seem to be for arts and humanities. I'm pretty pleased with it myself, I have to say. So, do I have time to read another 250 pages a week? No, I don't. I really don't. But I'll manage as best I can, and there's no requirement for me to complete this according to the timeline. I can take it slowly because the content will stay online. There's going to be discussion groups, there's going to be things popping up. It's very new, so we don't know who's going to take the lead and start groups and stuff. I could start one myself, maybe. That's maybe not a bad idea. But then I would have to keep up, wouldn't I? Don't know. I've just DNF'd Sense and Sensibility for Jane Austen July. I just wasn't getting into it, you know. It was got about 40% of the way in, and I found myself not really following what was happening. So I decided, you know what, this isn't for me. So instead, I'm going to be replacing it with these two amazing books, and some music and some art. So maybe I'll see you over there. Click the link below and you can see what Ted has to say himself. And yeah, maybe see you there. Thanks for watching. Bye.